I am Ashley Williams. Today I'm going to shed light on not only the Black Lives Matter movement, but also why it means so much to me. I'm also going to talk about what Black Lives Matter truly means. So many people mistake the movement for meaning that Black lives are the only ones that matter, and have the question, why don't all lives matter? The saying Black Lives Matter is stating that even though we as people of color have our human rights taken away and are treated lesser than our white counterparts, does not mean our lives can be taken as if they mean nothing. It's about uplifting and empowering the community and showing that we are here and we will fight for justice. Just as Dr. King stated, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. The Black Lives Matter movement was started by Alicia Garza, Opal Tometi, and Patrisse Cullors after the fatal shooting of Trayvon Martin. His accused killer, George Zimmerman, and not being convicted, and young Trayvon being put on trial for his own murder, made things go haywire. They wanted to shed light on this racism that is going on today. As Capehart and Milvanek state, at this point it is important to know that the understanding of law and justice may be seated within cultural contexts. Placing the blame for specific injustices upon a culture is problematic. Once his story came out, it enraged the Black community. It was more than just another death. It was an unjust death in the Black community. Trayvon was not the only unjust death in the Black community, but it was the final breaking point. The Black community started to fear that one of their own family members could be next, and that this had to be stopped. More stories of African Americans being killed populated the news and social media feeds. It was too much for anyone's heart to bear. Pictures on pictures of African American men, women, and young teens being killed was like a bad dream that you could not awake from. People did not stand aside anymore. With each death, the Black Lives Matter movement grew stronger. Questions arose on the autopsies of African Americans that were killed, and law enforcement and the judicial system were pushed to show how these consequences of these people losing their lives were just. It is not that all lives don't matter to us. It is that our lives as African Americans are seen as menial to others, and when one dies, it's not supposed to be such a big deal. We are supposed to accept it and move on, whether death is unjust or not. This is something we will always refuse to do, and the Black Lives Matter movement is a huge advocate of this. These and others will not accept any more unjust deaths, and we will forever be bringing the ones that have happened back to light so that they are never forgotten by those in the judicial system or the police force. The reason that this is so important to me is because I'm an African American woman with both an African American boyfriend, brothers, and cousins, and most importantly, I'm raising an African American son. I fear for my loved ones each time they leave. I fear for my son's future, him having to be judged and maybe even killed because of the color of his skin. My son is not raised to see color. He is told to love those who love him. He is told to be kind and respect those who are above him. He says please and thank you and has the sweetest demeanor of any child you will encounter. I could teach my son all of these things, and that will still not be enough, and this time to keep him safe, and that is what worries me the most. I did two things for the action piece of this project. The first one is that I attended the Black Lives Matter protest in Seattle back in April. It was so comforting and exciting to see how many people came out to support the cause. People from all different backgrounds and races came out to just stand with us. I think it was so important because it shows that people aren't going to stand for the injustices happening any longer. They are showing support not only for the Black Lives Matter movement, but they are showing that they will stand for injustice for people everywhere. If we, our people, are able to stand together, we can make so many changes happen. I can admit, this is the first time I have ever been to a march in my life. It was invigorating and very intimidating at first with how many people were there. I can say this, it was an experience I will never forget. Even with me only really knowing the people I went with and a few among the crowd, I felt safe. I felt good surrounded to be with so many people who wanted the same things as I did. It was unforgettable. It was about unity. It was about supporting each other in a time of need. It was about coming together and standing for what is right and getting justice to prevail. On this day, I felt this and so much more. People shared more than just a day of being together. They shared love for those who were and were not like them. This is Campbell Hill Elementary, where I work with a population that is majority African American. The children deal with many injustices, such as not having quality teachers to get the best education they should receive, not being able to get extra supports that they could have enhanced their learning, among other things. Our children are at such a disadvantage because about 92% of our kids come from low-income families, which may mean they are homeless or don't have the food or tools they need to be successful. Having to live in a community where you see people's lives taken and then coming to school where you feel like no one understands you or where you come from is tough things that they have to battle daily. A few staff members and I wanted to spread awareness of the Black Lives Matter movement and also supporting community partner Skyway Solutions that help our kids. We wanted to not only be able to support these movements, but also have the kids, staff, and community understand why we wore the shirts. We got together and decided what shirts we will purchase and wear them every Thursday and Friday and see what would happen. 2 Fridays later, we only had a few other staff members intrigued. We also sent out an email on why we were wearing the shirts and what the meaning was behind it. We educated people on the movements we supported with emails. It caught the attention of community members that came in and saw us. We had our picture posted on the school website where we had 2 more people joining us, which was amazing. By the end of the month, we had the whole staff buying both shirts. All proceeds went to Skyway Solutions or the Black Lives Matter movement. Just as Young tells us, an individual's position in the structures that produce injustice, however, make a difference to how much he or she ought to do. These wonderful people I work with were so supportive to take the picture you see before you. Their support of our community and the African American lives everywhere. Thank you for listening.